I'm sure you've been in a situation where you've been at net and you've been lobbed and you want to recover that net. It is a major part of the game. It's probably something that happens to you almost every single point. So now we're going to talk about what you should be thinking when you've been lobbed and you move to the back of the court, and also what is the best way for you to recover the net position once again. So imagine this, you're at net and you're attacking in the point. Now, almost before we talk about being lobbed and getting forced to the back of the court, it's that mentality. If you've come from tennis, like I have, it's you hit, you come to net, and you are finishing that point regardless. But it's different in paddle. You've got to understand that when you've been lobbed, you have to rebuild. So that mentality in the net is not necessarily, I'm going to finish on my first volley. But you're in this net position, you might play a volley that you think is good, and then your opponents may lob you. So you go from immediate attack to immediate defense or rebuild at the back of the court. So from your net position here, as soon as you've been lobbed and you know that you're not going to hit an overhead, the ball has gone too far back in the court for you to hit a bandeja and recover, you are committing to letting that ball bounce off that back glass and then rebuilding the point. So you've been lobbed, you're moving back to the side of this ball, and what I want you to do is to think, get back and attack. And so if you're immediately thinking of attack, you're thinking of a bajada, and we don't get sucked into this lob game. Yeah, it's when you've been lobbed and players come back here and the ball is behind them and they scoop a lob, and then immediately players are running back and only thinking of lobbing. But if you go back with the idea that you can attack that very first ball off the lob, it's called the bajada. You get to the side of the ball and you can attack. If you go back with that mentality, then you are more likely to get in a good position to do that. Now, I will say now that there will be the odd ball that it will land close to the glass, or you can't always attack, but the majority of them you can. So you need to go back with that mentality that I'm going to try and attack this ball, because that gives you the best opportunity to then retake the net. So when I'm moving back to attack this ball off the back glass, it's really important the job of my partner. As soon as I'm hitting, it means that their role is communicator. So they are communicating where the opponents are and telling me which ones are in which positions, because then I know where to aim my bajada. But it's also important that they come further back in the court. If they stay up at net and I'm at the back, we have created a big gap down the middle. Now, you sometimes see that at the pro level where the player comes back and their partner stays mid-court, but that's only because they move so fast and they know and are so accurate with the bajada that they can either come forward again or move immediately back. But at an amateur or recreational level, it's important you come all the way back, at least to that service line, if not one step back, because from here you are rebuilding the point together. So if your partner is not watching this video, please do share this, because they need to know that that is going to be their job as well. This communication with the partner is so important. If they do a good job as communicator, then it can definitely help me select where I want to hit. And actually, we've got communications courses on our platform, thepadelschool.com. You can do a 7-day free trial, sign up, and you can go through all of our communications so you know what to say when your opponents are in different positions at the other end. Because if, for example, I come back and I hit this bajada and my partner tells me either they're both back, it means that I don't need to be super aggressive with my bajada. I can just put a medium speed bajada into the other side of the court and we immediately approach the net and we've immediately won the net back. Or if one of them is back and he can tell me where to aim, basically, he's not telling me what shot I should hit or what to do, but he's telling me where they are. So I know I aim at the player at the back, we immediately take the net. So it's a really important part of the game. And it's also important that you listen to your partner, because sometimes I see great communication, but the person hitting just does their own thing anyway. And so if you've got a good communicator, make sure you also pay attention. And that can be the fastest way back to the net, is if one of the players or both players are back, you hit to that player and you get nice and fast into the net again. Probably the most common situation though is when both players come to net. Once they've hit the lob and they've gone past, you often see this where both players come to net. Hopefully your partner has told you that they both come to net. In which case, this mentality to rebuild is really important. You hit this bajada, and it's important that you read the success of your shot. So often, we see players hit this bajada and immediately come a few steps in, and all you've done is put yourself into no man's land. So it's important that you hit this bajada with the view to saying, okay, is it good? Has it found a gap? Is it in towards the body? What type of ball am I going to get next? And then you look to come forward and regain the net, maybe with a lob or a chiquita or whichever shot you choose. But do not immediately hit this shot and run towards the net. Yeah, hit it, see how effective it is, see how out of position your opponents are, what type of ball you're going to get next. This is you and your partner. Stay at the back, and then when you see the opportunity, then you make the decision to come forward. In the extended version, which we'll put on the padelschool.com for our members, we're going to talk about what you do on that next ball. You've hit a good bajada and you have 3 options that come from your opponent, and then what you should do to take the net. Up here, I'm going to put a link to the padelschool.com where you'll be able to see the extended version, but also you access all of our courses, all of our challenges, our exclusive content, and join our member community. And then down here, I'm going to put another video on a little bit more specific on the technique of the bajada.